Good evening. It's 6 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'll please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could we call the roll, please?
Schmuckel.
Here.
Barchef.
Here.
Augustinelli.
Here.
McManus.
Here.
McCumber.
Here.
Dool.
Here.
And Corn.
Here. First item on our agenda is public comment. If there's any member of the public who would care to address the board, please come to the podium, and if you'd be so kind as to give us your name and address. I will close public comment, come back to the board for approval of the agenda and notice of any conflicts of interest. Chris?
7A.
Right? No one objects to that being a conflict of interest, so.
No, not at all.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Support.
Motion and support to approve the agenda as presented. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item is the consent calendar.
The purpose of the consent calendar is to expedite business by grouping non-controversial items together to be dealt with in one board motion without discussion. Any member of the board, staff, or the public may ask that any item on the consent calendar be removed therefrom and placed elsewhere on the agenda for full discussion. Such requests will be automatically respected. If any item is not removed from the consent calendar, the action noted in parentheses on the agenda is approved by a single board action adopting the consent calendar. Minutes, September 10th, 2024, regular meeting, October 2nd, 2024, study session, September 5th, 19th, and 26th, 2024, special meetings, recommend approval. From the general fund, $125,541.56, recommend approval. Gordy Frazier, Developers Escrow Fund, Stormwater Reviews, Utility Plan Review, Oversight and Closeout, $9,781.35. General Utilities, $4,597.50. General, $470. Park Funds DNR Trust Fund, $9,589.50, for a total of $24,438.35. Recommend approval. You also have an MTT update, receive and file. Consideration of changing the name of Ramsdale Street west of Incochee Woods Drive if extended to Ramsdale Road. Recommend approval. And consideration of amending the address and applicant name for High Tops TC LLC, Resolution 2024-15-T amended. Recommend approval.
Is there any member of the board who would like to remove something from the consent calendar for discussion? Molly?
3E,
It was the same one.
Okay. Is there any member of the public who would like to remove anything from the consent calendar for discussion? For staff?
I'll make a motion that we adopt the consent calendar with the exception of 3E.
Support.
We have a motion and support to adopt the consent calendar with the exception of 3E. Any questions or comments? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Augustinelli.
Yes.
Schmuckel.
Yes.
Dool.
Yes.
McCumber.
Yes.
Barchef.
Yes.
McManus.
Yes.
And Corn.
Yes. Items removed from the consent calendar. Item 3E.
I just have a question on this. The Planning Commission's looking at High Tops. It's not really approved there yet. Do we, I think it was just a mistake on the first application, but do we want to just hold off on doing the liquor license till we know they're going to be there? Because we may be changing it someplace else.
I think it's
Maybe John.
got a pretty good potential of being there if they can make.
There are some things to work
Right.
out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's no question about being there, it's just entrance
Yeah.
that's the problem, but, okay.
He wants to go through the process multiple times.
Do you have any more updates, John, on that?
Well, we've been getting, so tomorrow it is on the agenda for the Planning Commission. It was introduced last month and was tabled, and it's being considered again tomorrow. The Planning Commission has yet to hear from the applicant regarding some of the concerns and the appropriateness of that use at that location. We've received a lot of comment from the neighboring residents in that area that are strongly opposed to it at that location based on its impact on their neighborhood. So.
It's a nightclub now.
I know. I'm kind of thinking along the lines of Maui. I think we're a little premature. Unless we change it again, or you guys change it again. I won't be here.
Yeah. The liquor license doesn't give him approval of a nightclub.
Right,
But-
right.
And he has,
He can always move it again.
correct. Or he could tone his plan down to where it doesn't
Comes in
offend the
front.
neighbors. Yeah.
What happens if it, let's just say it doesn't get approved because of the neighborhood input? Does he solely have that liquor license then and can take it with him anywhere?
It's still at that address. So,
Unless we approve it.
So, yeah, we'd have to approve it at a different address.
Okay. That's what I was wondering.
yeah, he does have a lease with Dr. Walls, so he has a site that meets the requirement of the state.
Okay.
Chris?
I know the original approval for the quota was the Class C, which allows them to serve beer and wine and spirits there.
Yes.
The entertainment that he wants to do would require an entertainment and a dance permit in
Correct.
addition to the Class C, and sometimes it requires local approval or opinion, and a lot of those rules have changed over the last 20 years. So he, by putting it there as far as the address, I don't think that solidifies what he wants to do. It still has to get approval from the Planning Commission, us, and maybe us approving a change in his license or approving those permits.
Right.
And if he were to obtain the entertainment and dance, well, that's different from what he told us or explained to us when we approved it originally, so my guess is we could probably rescind that if it came to that. So I'm just trying to throw all the options out there that we can still affect this some point down the road if we're unhappy.
Yeah.
Can we resend it?
We can refuse.
Make a
We
recommendation.
can refuse the dance or,
The operation.
Okay, the operation part of it. Okay.
but he's, again, his correct name is LLC, which needed to be corrected. And the address that's on there now, 1214, he does not have a contract for that property.
Well,
Or, I'm sorry,
the
the,
Previous one.
fire department made him split the addresses. It's the same address, but they made him split the building addresses so that they could know which one to go to in case of a fire. This was required by the fire department to split the address.
okay.
He came in and talked to me, so I knew that.
But wasn't his last address at the Grand Traverse Mall?
No, he had already switched it.
He already had switched it? Okay.
Yeah, on the backside, you got the old address.
All right.
All right, I'll make a motion that we approve 3E liquor license for High Tops.
Support.
Right, we have a motion and support to support the liquor license for High Tops as presented. Any questions or comments? We have a roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Barsha.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We are on to correspondence, and we have some correspondence from the Parks and Rec Commission regarding last night's meeting.
You don't have a copy of it, you want it?
We can discuss at our next budget session. Item 6 is reports. First item is the County Commissioners' report.
Good evening, everyone. Brad Jewett, Vice Chair, Grand Traverse County Board of Commissioners, District 4.
Lauren Flynn, Board of Commissioners, District 2.
I don't think we have redundant stuff here, but if we do, forgive us. Last week at our meeting there, we had some discussion in regards to the state wanting to possibly approve a septic ordinance statewide, and we've had the discussion of having our own county ordinance, which in a sense would buy us approximately 10 years to come into compliance with the state level and everything if we have something in place before they approve it. So with that being said, there was a ad hoc created, and our first meeting will be this Friday from 11 to 12:30 in the 300 room of the Gov Center. I'm on that committee, so is Commissioner Henschel and Commissioner Andrews, and then people from the Health Department. And I would imagine there might be some staff there too, but if you guys have any type of input that you want, that would be a good time to come and have some of that input before we try to create an ordinance and have a recommendation to the full board. Last week, we also did approve a regional materials management plan committee. It does include some of the region's businesses that produce certain types of waste, and Lydia Gulo will be the chair starting out with that. I think there's 12 spots on it. Was it 11 or 12? There's about a dozen positions on there.
There
and
was
there's-
11, because 12 and 13 were the two haulers that I.
Oh, that's right,
that we
yep.
had.
And there are a couple vacancies still on that committee that they're trying to fill and everything, so they're going to be reaching out to some of the people that we recommended at the board level there. Tomorrow we have a study session concerning budget, and we'll be talking to some of the department heads, managers, and elected officials, so just trying to prep for the next budget approval. Last week was the MAC conference out at the resort. I think every commissioner attended, if I remember right, but
I don't
anyway.
think Commissioner Walter, the majority of.
Oh, yeah, Commissioner Walter had other obligations. But anyway, very good conference, very enlightening and everything, and it was nice to be the host again for that MAC conference. Mental Health Crisis Center is going to be opening at least a portion of it by the end of the year. And if I understand it correctly, it'll be the younger kid portion of it that will not probably open until after the first of the year. Is that correct?
I think crisis is opening for both, for adult and.
Oh, that's right. It is the
And then,
emergency side, the crisis side, yeah. So that is in the works. That's going to be opening and everything. And then one last thing that I have is Beta Open House was last week there at their new facility. I do recall seeing a number of you there and everything like that, but definitely a nice facility, so it'll be welcoming in the sense that they're not running into 2 or 3 different locations and everything all the time now for operations and everything, so.
Just got a few more things. First off, only 4 more weeks left, everybody. 4 more weeks today. We're almost there. After purchasing Camp Graylick, we have also agreed to start off with helping with the endowment fund to trigger some more fundraising by the Conservancy and Community Foundation. So we have put $250,000 in currently, and we'll match 2 to 1 to make it up to $1 million. So they will be raising $500,000, and we'll be offering another $250,000 maximum at that point in time. We're still waiting on the official plan that John Chase is working on. He's diligently working on that to make sure Camp Graylick is perfect and has all the capital improvements going to be, and what we'll be doing for revenue sources. So looking forward to that coming down the pipeline in the next few months.
Yeah, I would imagine we'll see something by the end of the year.
On that note, also, we are moving where John Chase has been interim facilities manager, but now he will be, we're going to combine the Parks and Rec and facilities, and he'll be the head of both, and we'll have deputy leaders on the facilities side and the park side as well. There will be a joint meeting on the 14th at the airport, between the airport, Leelanau, and GT County, discussing bonding for the expansion of the airport. We have officially brought on Maxwell Cameron. I'm not sure if he's reached out to all supervisors yet, but he will be our community development coordinator. Project Alpha is moving along. We did get a great update from Cunningham Limp, who did, when we brought them on, did confirm that they would be doing very diligent updates to us. So they have reviewed 8 facilities and moving that right along to get that going for 911 and
EOC, Emergency
Yeah.
Operations Center, and also the storage facility.
Yep. So that's all I have. Any questions this evening?
Explain to me what your community development coordinator is going to do, and why aren't you going through Networks North or other things that are already out there for community development?
It's more so, I believe, to work with the townships, bringing the supervisors and the county together, and then working also with Networks North. They'll be the person representing the county at a lot of those meetings that will be working with community development throughout the region.
Just putting in another layer?
In essence, there's also things that we'd like to see that community developer do, expand on, finding grants, working with, zoning and collaborating. The septic ordinance would probably be something very much that he'll be involved in.
Yeah, and part of it is, it's more about communication. As we see, Garfield Township communicates different than East Bay, than Blair, than Long Lake and everything, and the intent is this guy to help clear up all of our communications and everything. So it's a new position. We got to see how it plays out and everything like that. We approved that position last year, and they just hired him beginning of third week of September, I think it was his first week and stuff. So, but the idea is for him to coordinate communications and try to communicate better with all the entities,
Isn't that what Networks North is supposed to do?
They do 10 counties. This
Oh,
will
so
be-
they're
there'll be
more
one-
regional.
Yep, they're more
Yeah.
regional. I sit on the board of Networks Northwest, so this
Small
person will be a
microcosm.
communicator too for our region,
Yeah.
for our county.
Yep. Networks Northwest will still be a piece of that puzzle and everything, but hopefully Maxwell can just help work with all the townships to improve some of the services and everything and communications, and try to just mend some relationships that have been strained over the years and everything for whatever reason.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, well, like always, our contact information is on the county website, and if you need to get a hold of us, please do. I'm going to skip out to Blair real quick because Commissioner Seifert can't be out there tonight, so.
And you've got me for most of the meeting. I'll be here for most of it. I've got to sneak out a little early, but I'm here.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Item B is the sheriff's report.
Hello, Roy Raska, Lieutenant with the Sheriff Department. We're able to gather some stats from our computer system now. It's been a while. Still cannot communicate with the courts to get any type of ticket or accident stats, but over the last month, there was 5 drunk driving arrests and 38 criminal arrests in Garfield Township. And the things that the township CPOs have been doing. Deputy Anderson just got back from basic negotiator school, so it's a really great training. He just spent a week in Ohio getting caught up to speed, and he'll be on our negotiator team now. Deborah, Deputy St. Croix, she'll be attending child forensic interviewing this next month. And some of the other things that took place, some of the CPOs assisted GT Metro with car seat inspections at Williams. And then Walmart was really wanting us to get involved with some type of first responder event, and they were able to put that together on a Sunday, and we had a few deputies take part in that, and Deborah, one of the Garfield Township CPOs, played a role in that. Lowe's is requesting we do another first responder event. I think it's this weekend, so I'm working on getting someone to participate with that. Some of the bigger things that have been going on this month, that Kings Court shooting, seems to be under control. It's pretty much related to the same house we've been dealing with, and it sounds like the guys are continuing to deal with it, so it should be quieting that place down. We had a stolen vehicle in Brookside that was recovered after a pursuit in Leelanau. I think the DB and Deborah are working on that still. And then Had some really horrific child abuse cases this last month, and Deputy Rosa, one of the Garfield Township CPOs, is working with the DB, and it sounds like they've made an arrest in that case, so that's good. Any questions?
All good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Keep working on those stats. Next item is the Grand Traverse Metro Report.
Good evening. Paul Mackin, Grand Traverse Metro Fire Chief. The first page of the report that you presented, the Garfield Metro incident reports for September 2024. The totals run over to the second page, but the totals for the month was 504 calls for Metro as a whole, 353 of which were in Garfield Township. Just a couple highlights in the top. As far as our most predominant incident types, medical assist as usual, coming in at 203 for Garfield, followed up by some dispatch, canceled route, good intent type calls, 25 calls for the month, and then emergency medical services other at 49, and then followed up by motor vehicle accidents with injury 12. The rest of the incidents listed are pretty much a one-off type request. Moving to the second page of that total, you see the pie chart by station, that 504. We're coming in with Station 11 coming in at 32% of that, Station 1 at 27%, Station 12 at 21%, followed by Station 8 at 13%, and Station 9 at 6% of those calls. When you look at the breakdown per township, of the 504, we got 70% in Garfield Township, roughly 20% in East Bay, and 10% in Acme, with just a small percentage of out of the area. Moving on to the EMS incidents for Garfield, you have page 1 is the Garfield EMS, followed up by the Metro as a whole on page 2. The incident type to note is it's always one of our top calls is falls, with a total of 42, difficulty breathing being a second type of EMS incident that we would have, 29, vehicle accident 22. I'll let my colleague from MMR kind of expand a little bit more on the EMS call details. So, just a couple of highlights for the last month. In addition to the Williams car seat event and the Walmart event in terms of pub ed, we had an event at the state park. It was a first responders night that we participated in. We also held our annual open house this past Saturday from 11 to 2 at our Station 11 on Veterans Drive. Had pretty steady attendance. I think it was well attended. However, the consensus was that attendance appeared a little bit lower than previous years. We just attributed that to a lot of additional events that were going on that day, some conflicting things, the road construction potentially a factor, and then just the good weather. I mean, it was just such a nice day. We just figured there was just a lot of people that chose to do some other things and made some other plans. So, but all in all, it was a good event. With this being Fire Prevention Week, our crews are busy out there assisting our fire and life safety educator, Jen Froelich, with presentations at our area schools and daycares. So I've been pretty busy this week with a lot of events scheduled. We did receive some good news this morning that we are recipients of a Firehouse Subs grant for the purchase and replacement of one of our Lucas chest compression devices, totaling $13,655.76. The official announcement will come out once we prepare that press release, have it reviewed by Firehouse Subs, and then they'll let us do that. But we did get that email this morning. Also good news, we did plan and budget for the replacement of 3 of our 5 thermal imaging cameras that each of our fire rigs carry. Those are over 10 years old. We were in desperate need to start replacing them. Again, as I said, we budgeted to get 3 of the 5 this year, and then we're going to plan for next year. But thanks to a private donor who wishes to remain anonymous, received an additional almost $13,000 to purchase the 2 remaining cameras, so we were able to upgrade our entire inventory. So we're very pleased with that. Our new Engine 11, which we've been talking about lately, has been delivered, and it should be in service on Veterans Drive in the coming weeks. Crews are just finishing doing some equipment installation and conducting in-service training, so we'll be excited to have that in service. Also to note, you may have been maybe aware in the newspapers, there was a MyOSHA complaint regarding the air quality within an area of one of our stations in Acme Township, station number 8. We did assist MMR with the investigation. They did prepare a response to the inquiry. Essentially, the results of the investigation revealed a need for a low CFM air circulating device, essentially to introduce some fresh air into a day room area within the station. So we've been working with Acme Township and MMR, came up with some solutions, and those are going to be implemented here in the coming weeks. Contractor's been basically requested to get that done, and then we also were informed that the matter is closed with MyOSHA, so hopefully resolved. So that completes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Next is the MMR report.
Hello, Amy Fairchild, Ops Manager with MMR. I don't think I have quite as much information as Chief there, but we'll see what we can do. For Garfield Township for the month of September, we had 323 calls. Topping our list was falls, as he stated. Also sick person. We're starting to see some more of the flu, RSV, and some of those other fun things coming up again. Also, in third place there was breathing problems. Other than that, it's just a couple things here and there throughout with some allergic reactions, car accidents, things like that. We've been able to maintain our staffing. Unfortunately, we did lose a paramedic to an off-duty accident a couple of weeks ago, so we are hiring for that position, but we've been taking care of his family first for right now. But otherwise, our staffing has remained well. Our EMT class tests out this Saturday, so if you know any of the EMT students, I believe you do, and they are nervous and walking around running into things, it's normal. Just let them go through the testing, they'll sleep later. Our paramedic class is in their externship right now, which means it's all them. They're working with one of my crews, but it's their time to shine, their time to practice, their time to get these skills down. So they are also walking around shaking, nervous, and drinking a lot of caffeine, but we're excited with how well they're doing. We have quite a few of them that have expressed interest in working for us, so I've been trying to capture them as they come in the door to have those conversations, and I'm hoping to bring quite a few on board with us. Other than that, still working on our Garfield Township building here on Park Drive. We're going through the permit process right now, but we're hoping to be in there before the end of the year. My goal would be to move in before snow flies, but that's just a convenience for me. So when it's ready for us, we will be ready to move in. I don't believe I have any other information. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Planning Department report for October 2024.
Department reports in your packet, just as I mentioned earlier about the High Tops nightclub along with the bar tavern proposal is still on the agenda for the Planning Commission. Like I mentioned, we anticipate quite a few neighbors coming in for tomorrow's meeting. Even though it's not a public hearing, they'll have opportunity to comment under public comment. The Planning Commission is also looking at a findings of fact for French Manor on Lafreniere Road, is doing an expansion of that facility. And on the page 2 at the top of the report, it mentions about the minor amendment for the Beta Housing Commission project. That will probably be later next month in November. That is just basically altering the phasing for, there's a playground that was proposed as part of Phase 1 that was removed because of some concerns and requirements from MISTA. They have resolved those, so that's being put back into Phase 1. So they'll be coming in front of the Planning Commission for that, expecting that next month. That's all I have.
Any questions for John? Thank you, John. Next is the Parks and Rec report.
Evening. Winterizing all the parks, that's pretty much our summary of this time of year. But we did get the drinking fountain operational over at Silver Lake, so that's up and running. That was a little bit of a to-do with the existing concrete on the old drinking fountain, and had to make some tweaks to the water line to get everything level, so that's operating, looking good. We got the tennis court cracks repaired with Henco. That's all finished, completed, ready to winterize soon once the weather turns a little colder here. Looking at getting some potential quotes for maybe next year or the year after pickleball courts. Sean and I are getting a ton of requests for pickleball at Silver Lake, so we're looking to see where that could maybe map out over there. So we're working on that. It was kind of cool. I was just over there this afternoon, though. We had people playing tennis on both courts. There was a family playing basketball. Bunch of people on the walking loop. Dog park was packed, and female rugby team was there practicing, and the playground was running. It was like a giant, fun time over there this afternoon. So it looked really good. The Commons, the DNR's grants, we're getting updates through the planning department, and GFA's getting that RFP out sooner than later, I hope, with Copper Ridge Trailhead. We've been working with the subcommittee. They had some materials delivered. We made sure we didn't slow the production there at the primary care there. We made sure all the materials were through the parking lot and delivered at a proper drop site, so that worked out well. They're still picking away at the, 10 yards of material they got there. River East is looking good. We did have a little flare up for a couple weeks. Our CPOs helped us out, kind of eradicating some encampments. There was some, Metro was running a couple fires down below, so we kind of, with the CPO help and Metro Fire, we kind of put a squash to that, so that's all cleaned up again. We got a down payment on the precasted bathrooms. As we all know, they're not coming until the spring, but we're ready to roll there at River East. Met our new IT staff guy, walked down River East through our camera system and what upgrades we could do once the bathrooms do go in. But I think with just the use of the dog park down there, the traffic we don't want down there has subsided, and the graffiti and the tagging and encampments have really limited down there at River East, so that's a good sign. Boardman Valley, Sean and I got the UTV all the way back down, all the way to the end, to the NER property. There were some old trash cans that we're not really sure what they served, but Mama Bear and Cubs, when they were there, decided to tip most of them over and spread trash all over the place. So those are gone. Those have been taken out and removed. So that's all cleaned up. Miller Creek, Forefront scheduled their cleanup day on Indigenous Day, so they're going to clean up windblown trash over at Miller Creek. They've been doing the commons the last couple of years. They're going to target Miller Creek here in a little bit. Kids Creek, I walked the tree planting, the ones that didn't make it there at the Buffalo Ridge Trail, Kids Creek area. CRA is looking to replace that with grant funds, nothing out of our pocket, so we got a tree count on that. And Buffalo Ridge, we're just, we put in that new bench, and we're looking to get quotes with our funds that remove the autumn olives that are encroaching the trail. So I'm working with Brad Olson and Great Wolf Lodge and keeping the autumn olive at bay. That's pretty much my report in a nutshell. Any questions? Molly?
On Silver Lake Road, between the entrance to Silver Lake Park and the fire barn, there are some dead trees.
Yeah.
Are they in the road right away?
We were told at one point they were the road commission's issue, but then the new helm says they're our issue. And we have a couple hangers, trees like in Miller Creek that are not really near the trail, but could pose a problem later on. I'm trying to get like those trees at Silver Lake, one or two at Miller Creek and one at the Commons, that we just had maybe a tree service come in and take care of them all at once. Yeah, I think those are going to be on us. Those to remove those dead ones by the power lines. Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions for Derek? Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Next item is the treasurer's report.
So I just included this for us to kind of review. I updated it, took off some of the projects that we're not going to be able to get under contract by the end of the year, and added on just a placeholder for the playground equipment at River East. But basically, I just want to highlight down at the bottom that 889,000 is still not under contract, so that's what we're working towards here, towards the end of the year. And then 260 of that is not allocated at all, so, because of projects falling through. So I just want us to kind of, as a board, not right now necessarily, but just think about for our next budget meeting, if you have any other ideas or things you want to do, they got to be quick, they got to be able to be under contract by the end of the year. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on where we're at with that. Nothing's going to get returned. We have options if we need to, so we are good. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, Chloe. Appreciate
That's
this.
very helpful.
What about the other 6F topic?
That's the one under correspondence. We're going to bring it up at the budget meeting.
Oh, okay, all right. Good. Thank you.
Next item is the clerk's report.
I've submitted the clerk's report in writing. We've been real busy with election going on right now. We got our ballots kind of late. We got them on the 25th. We had to have them in our office on the 26th. We got all tested them, and 4,997 of them out by 10 a.m. on the 26th in the mail. We're at 5,405 that we've issued. We have 23% back already, which I'm pretty proud of. 1,259 back, which is pretty good for this time. Still have quite a few we need to check in, so I'm sure there's more. They're coming in piles every day. So it's been busy in our office, but we're getting prepared, so. Any questions?
No questions for the clerk. Supervisor's report. A couple of interesting things with Metro. One was the 9/11 memorial. Did a nice job. It's very, it was a little quicker this year, which I appreciated. And then over the last weekend, Saturday, they had the Charlie Golf One fundraiser for veterans suffering from PTSD. And a lot of them are first responders. Metro's Honor Guard was there with the pipes, and they did a great job. It was quite an emotional event. There are a lot of people who were tough guys who just couldn't admit that they had a problem, and then when they finally did, it was like the dam breaking. So, and they stood up on stage and told us about it, which was pretty.
That's cool.
Yeah, pretty rough to do, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I did attend a Safe Routes to School meeting with the state officials, and it became clear that that's not going to happen this year. We're not going to get a contract, so that is one of the areas we have to look at, moving in a different direction. We met, the western half of Logan's Landing has sold, and John and I met with the purchaser to give him some idea of what the zoning encompasses and what the potential is, so we feel like it's a positive thing, clearly.
They're going in there.
It's not quite sure yet.
Wow.
He said he's trying to figure it out.
Wow.
That has commercial zoning on the ground and an R3 overlay, right, on the master plan?
Yes, correct on the zoning, it's general commercial, and then the future land use map is changed to a mixed use for that area, not just Logan's Landing, but the area to the south as well,
They can have residential and commercial and office.
potentially.
Nice. Yeah.
One of the things that the county's economic development program is focused on right now is a zoning atlas. They're doing it down in the Grand Rapids, Holland area, and they prepare an interactive map where you can zero in on an area and click on properties. You can ask for properties that have multi-family residential, water and sewer. You know, you can put different filters on it. It'll tell you where those properties are. So if somebody wants to build a factory, they can quickly zero in on what is available in the area.
Nice.
So that is one of the
Interesting.
county initiatives coming in terms of economic development, is to make it easier for developers to find the property that'll work for them. And I went to the Beta Open House, which is quite a party. A beautiful building. And other than that, yes, sir.
Any updates on the water issue with the city?
We are, our attorney is talking to their attorney.
Because they're wanting to get water back from us now to a new pump station to suffice
I'm
the
aware.
insufficient joint rack, and I thought, wow, you'd have to sell us more water so you can take it back, right?
Yeah, we just need to sit down and start writing a new contract, but we'll get through it.
Okay, good.
Any other questions on supervisor's report? We will move on to unfinished business, item 7, consideration of revising the employment agreement for the township manager,
He left.
and he's out. All right, so the contract we have in front of us is pretty much what we agreed to. One of the questions that was, Chris wanted the ability to work with LSU on their teaching the teacher program, and he was presenting it as a benefit to the township, but we were having a hard time with that, and he didn't want to use his personal time to do it. So with the original contract, we had mentioned 2 weeks of vacation. What he is asking for is 3 or 4 weeks of paid vacation a year, which would give him the ability to still work with LSU and using vacation time.
But we're paying.
Correct. He's currently with the county, I believe he has 5 weeks,
Yeah, but he's
How
been
many
there how many
years?
years?
29?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
And he's, well, maybe an increase in salary also. I mean, this is a different job. I guess I'm not, I mean, what's pretty standard for, like, Amy and other people who are here?
New hires. New hires is 2 weeks when they first come in, correct?
Well, Chloe talked to what did she say?
Yeah, I asked Amy Sell what she would recommend for this type of position, and she said 3 to 4 weeks, plus the 92 hours of personal time would be competitive. So she did say that was within range of what these kind of positions would offer.
We don't have to, I mean.
Right, we don't have to, but that is what the
What
consultant
do
said.
our people get?
They get 2 weeks to start out.
our hourly or regular employees start at 2 weeks.
And then what's is it,
And then
what's the chart after that? 5 years a hit and 10 years a hit? 5 is 3, 10 is 4?
something like that.
Yeah, I think, I remember being on the personnel committee, but it was 5, yeah. 5 was 3, and then 10 was 4.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
But also, I think you want to consider that he's taking over a lot of the supervisor roles, and it's a stressful job, for one, but also, the elected official positions, we don't have to track our vacation time. We can take what we want. Now, we don't take advantage of it, but we have that flexibility as managers, Laney and I do. So I also consider that too. The supervisor had that flexibility, but that doesn't mean we have to do that. I'm just saying that's another viewpoint, but.
But we take on the burden of being elected every 4 years.
That's true.
And if we lose our job, we don't get unemployment because we're elected officials. So that's also a plus. I mean, that's also why we get the time we have.
There's no severance pay.
There is no severance pay.
Well, I have in my own personal opinion is if we hire somebody for a different job, not this job, they're only going to get 2 weeks. I think township manager should do the same and only have 2 weeks to begin with. If we want to increase that at a later point in time, we could look at that. But, I mean, that's what everybody else is getting in this township when they hire in.
Correct. But again, there is a difference between a contract CEO.
I understand that, but still with the contract, I still think it should be 2 weeks.
Does your typical employee get 92 hours personal time too?
Mm-hmm.
So everybody starts out at 4.3 weeks off a year?
Yep.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than I was when I was a chief engineer.
PTO, paid time.
I guess I'm inclined to not want to pay Chris to do another job. You know, he wants this time so that he can go out and do another job. And so, I love Chris, but
Yeah.
I'm not,
No, and I do
inclined.
understand to a degree, his claim that the contacts he makes with this job are valuable.
sure.
Oh, I
But I
understand.
don't know how much value they have to the township.
Right.
So we'll let him go and do those things,
Right.
but on his time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and he did say, is it 12, 14 times a year he has to go? So if he did take his personal or vacation time, that's pretty much all his time. So I think that's why he was asking, because it is quite a commitment for him to go do it, and he still wants to be able to do it. So he won't be able to do it. It's got, the impression I got is if he didn't get more time, that would take up all his vacation time.
Well, this is,
So he
His main
ran,
job.
yeah, he ran to be the manager, and
Yep.
that's part of the deal. I mean, I didn't run for manager because I love my horse judging and I didn't want to give up all that time, but if I knew these were going to be the benefits, I might have considered it. 6.3 weeks off a year, holy crap, I could have fit that in easy, because I would take off on a Wednesday, be back Sunday night, and back here on Monday. So I think going into the manager's position, he had to choose that fact, but the other world might have to suffer, and maybe it goes down to way less, half that time. That was part of the deal when you come into here. I mean, I would have expected you'd think this is full-time, and I agree with Molly. I don't think our vacation time should offset his other deal that he's probably getting paid for.
It's
My
more time
person-
away from the office.
yep, exactly.
I mean, I would consent to 3 weeks because it is a new manager's position, but I don't think 4. I mean, because that's what other people are doing, which we don't have to do.
When are we going to look at this contract every year?
I'm proposing that we have maybe every other year kind of situation.
I think it should, in my opinion, I think 2 weeks should stay in that contract and then look at it in 2 years when we're going to reevaluate the contract. And I agree with Molly, him taking off the time and getting paid for it, and we're paying him for that time off too. When you accept a position as a township manager, you're obligated to this organization. And the contacts he made are great too, but I agree with you. Are they going to be justifiable for Garfield Township? I don't know.
What did our new building inspector come in at?
2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Okay, with the 96 hours
Right.
personal time.
92.
92.
And that's a pretty important position, actually very important, because if you fall behind on that position or piss off people, you got a lot of mad permits out there, so. Carl's, I'll say it, and it's irrelevant, but Carl will definitely be missed.
We're keeping him as long as we can.
I know we are, but at some
Even
point, he's going to say, I
part-time.
want to go fishing
Part-time.
with Derek, and I'm leaving.
Yeah, Carl wants his full-time.
Yeah, so, that's an important position. I'm leaning towards just leaving it the way you guys did the contract originally.
2 weeks,
2
Yep.
weeks. I am too.
like everybody else. Me too.
Do you need a motion on that?
Is there any further discussion? Again, I know it's one of those things that he enjoys doing and he finds a lot of value in. In order to do it, if he's going to use his vacation time, he's not going to be as well-rested as he should be.
That's right.
My concern is, and I've expressed this to him, is that he can't work constantly.
Right.
He needs to relax. He
Right.
needs to get away and let it go every once in a while. To
Maybe that job, he needs to think about whether he wants that job or not, because Denise is right. This is the
Right.
priority.
Yep.
This is the job he's taking, and we want him, if he's not able to do that because he's got all these extracurricular things, then we have to look at other alternatives. That's my feeling on it.
Chloe, anything else?
I don't know, I don't feel like we should be delving into his personal business, honestly.
Right.
If it was a different manager who was saying, I want 3 to 4 weeks and didn't give us the context, we'd probably say, okay, we're gonna respect this professional's request, this is what the industry pays. So yes, we'll get it to him, but because we know Chris, we have our own personal biases, and we're coming up with this narrative about Chris and where he should be spending his time and what he should be doing with his time, where like normally a professional would just come in with a contract, because we know him, it's to his detriment at this point, and that's what I don't like. If I was just making this decision not knowing Chris, I would offer, especially knowing what out in the world pays people and what the benefits are for young professionals right now, I'd pay attention to that. And a lot of places are offering unlimited vacation. A lot of tech companies are offering that. A lot of high-paying jobs are offering that, and that's the kind of job this is. This is a high-profile job, and we're trying to elevate it to that level. So personally, I would go with what the consultant said, because it's a non-biased standard that doesn't have to do with Chris personally. So that's just me. I would do 3 at least weeks. 4 is a little much, but I would say at least 3. That's my personal opinion, but.
Well, I guess we could consider him being 4 years on our board and learning what we have, but just, you guys also have 4 years on the board, but I think 3 weeks, if that's what the standard industry is. I wouldn't mind 3, I think 4 is way too much. So I agree, we need to think about the job and not the person so much.
So we're just going to increase his compensation package by an extra week of paid vacation. That's what you're asking us to do?
Well, that's what,
That's what he's asking us to do?
Yeah, it's up to the board. We can just vote on it. You guys wanna make
He
a
would
motion?
like to have 4.
Yeah.
I'm sure he would.
Well,
We all,
with the weeks, I had my mind made up before I knew what his thoughts were, and that was to say no, because everybody else starts in at this position, and even our building inspector that's going to be taking over that department is starting there, and that's a very important department. Building is our #1 tax revenue base for building the tax revenues. So I think you got to choose personally, and now that I know that, I can honestly say that because that was brought up by him. I think you got to choose this or that, and that if that has to demise, there's no reason for our taxpayers to pay for that. So my stance is still stay at the 2 weeks, which you still have 2.3 weeks personal time, so that's 4.3 weeks off a year with no questions asked. That's a lot.
If he wants to continue doing this extra job, and it's a problem for him, when he does his 1-year evaluation, we might go up to 3. But to keep it fair for everybody, 2 weeks is our standard, and I'd stay with the 2 week.
I agree with Molly.
Do we have language in here right now that, performance evaluation?
Yep, it's actually up above. Number 6,
Yeah.
in April 2025 will be his first evaluation. It's 6 months from now. And then we'll do it every 2 years when the contract expires.
So I don't think, if John came to us and said, yeah, I want to be gone for an extra 2 weeks, I'm going to travel and do all kinds of different things, and I want you to pay me to do that, it'd probably be a hard no, John.
This is a contracted position.
Now that we know you, though, I'd consider it.
Amy,
Amy's our highest paid employee, and she
Yeah.
started in 2 weeks.
at 2 weeks.
Yep.
And needed all kinds of certifications. We don't even have a lot of experience in the manager position with Chris. We're paying him on a scale as if there were. So I just can't really go there.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we stay with the current contract, 2 weeks vacation.
Support.
We have a motion and support to stay with the current contract at 2 weeks of vacation. Any other comments or questions?
I had one, I was just thinking of this, and I had talked to Denise about this earlier today. Do we need to put in here in reference to our employees' manual of those vacation hours and personal times on how they're handled? Like rolling over or paid out, or do we
Says
need to
right
put
here.
that in here?
It says right here, Township agrees to pay the premium here on the same basis as is provided to all full-time Township
I didn't
employees.
see that, I didn't read far enough.
It's in
Okay,
our manual.
it's answered. Thank you, Chloe.
Any other questions or comments? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Jewel.
Yes.
Bastianelli.
Yes.
Buckle.
Yes.
Cumber.
No.
McManus.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes. All right.
Do you want to go, Kenny, or?
He's right next door.
It's probably right here.
I think that noise was
No, he's-
Busy
he's
Foot
just-
right here.
He usually plays Candy Crush in the other room.
Candy Crush.
Did you beat Candy Crush, Chris?
Nope. Looking at 8C.
We are on item 8A, a public hearing, consideration of zoning ordinance R3, District Amendment Resolution 2024-25T. John?
Yes, this is a fairly straightforward proposed text amendment to the Township zoning ordinance. Currently, any multifamily house or housing larger than a duplex requires a special use permit. And what this does is for 3 dwelling units or a triplex or 4 dwelling units, which is a quadplex, allows it a use by right in the R3, which is our multifamily district. It creates some flexibility for smaller multifamily housing in the township. It does also put definitions for triplexes, quadplexes, alters the definition for a multifamily, which is basically will now be anything 5 or greater. And then also does change the minimum lot size to kind of reflect those triplexes and quadplexes in terms of 12,000 square feet for a triplex and 16,000 square feet for a quadplex. So the Planning Commission studied this. They did conduct a public hearing on August 14th of this year and provided a recommendation for approval of making these amendments to the Township zoning ordinance.
Any discussion from the board?
One quick question. John, the square feet total, is that just the residence itself, or does that include a garage?
The square feet is for the lot size itself, not necessarily the
So you
unit.
don't have building square foot, that's lot size?
Lot size, correct.
Okay, all right, my bad on that. I was thinking, man, those are big units if they're that square footage.
And-
Okay.
And they will still require site plan review, it's just that it won't require special use permit.
Okay.
It'll just be done administratively.
Molly?
I'll just make a comment. The planning commission is attempting to do what we can to help the housing crisis that we have here. And that's what's precipitating some of these changes that you'll see coming down. So looking at as many angles as we can to do that. That's the reason.
Great idea.
Yes, yep.
Absolutely. You have to open public hearing.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to make a motion.
Are there any other board member comments?
No, but do we need to open the public hearing?
She just asked him that.
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought she said we need a motion. I'm sorry. I thought you were ready to make a motion like
At a
usual.
public hearing.
Go ahead, Chuck, as you were.
If the board has no other comments or questions, we'll now open the public hearing. Any member of the public who would care to address the board on this subject, please come to the podium. If you would be so kind as to give us your name and address. All right.
Sorry.
I see three people shaking their heads, so I will close the public hearing and bring it back to the board.
I would like to make a motion that Resolution 2024-25-T, adopting amendment number 41 to the ordinance number 68, Garfield Township zoning ordinance be adopted.
Support.
We have a motion and support to adopt amendment number 41 to ordinance number 68, resolution 2024-25T. Questions or comments? A roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. All right, we will move on to consideration of bids for landscaping services at the Logan's Landing and Woodmere medians.
Evening. In your packet, you have a little bit of a layout, what we're looking to do to the Logan's Landing medians in addition to Woodmere medians, using potential ARPA money funds. And working with John and Chloe and Sean and some contractors to see what we can do to beautify, especially Logan's Landing, and to minimize the maintenance at Woodmere. Precursor to this, we're not looking to like necessarily lock in what you see in front of you with those two contractors' bids. We're looking to, if we get an approved of the contractor and what we're trying to do, we also have to permit this through the road commission. The road commission does not like certain things that will impede vision, obviously, or grow too tall. We have overhead power lines in that area, especially at Logan's Landing. And if you're through there, if you can visualize it, right now there's some pine trees that are reaching that limit that eventually will get topped and they're going to look terrible. So part of this project is to remove those trees and make it look like more of an orchard style look through the medians there, with a flowering tree that will not exceed like that 18-20 foot line. And it'll also be tight enough in the middle of the median where it's not going to cast shade to create issues with icing or lack of thaw of the roadways. So looking at Logan's Landing, you can see Premier and Old Mission quoted there with 50 flowering trees. And anywhere we have a little cutout where you're cutting through the medians, there's going to be little landscape beds. Either one proposed as mulch, one put down stone. If I had my recommendation, I would say stone over mulch, so we're not doing mulch every couple of years. We can just lay a good fabric down and do a Michigan River rock, and when it gets wet, it looks beautiful. Any questions on that Logan's Landing? I'm just get some, yeah, Denise?
I have a question because it floods all the time in that area. Is there going to be, there's a lot of times I've gone through there and we've had heavy rains and there's like standing water in there.
In the median?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
part
gonna
of-
be addressed?
Well, part of the flowering trees, they'd be raised, it'd be a raised bed through there. So if it's gonna stand below where the root ball would be in the trees.
Okay.
But yeah, it's
'Cause I was
especially to
concerned
the east.
If you put this money into it and then all that water comes in and, it's like washed away basically, but it floods easily down there.
Yeah, I haven't seen
Yeah.
it so much in the meetings as much as in Medalley Park, but it does come to the roadway once, a little bit, comes that way. But I think they're gonna be more in the middle of the area where, with it being crowned, everything's gonna wash off.
Okay. Yeah, because that was
Be
my
a
main concern when
consideration.
I seen this, because I thought, you put all this money into it and then a good rain and it's all gonna wash away.
Right.
Derek,
Yeah,
one
yep, Steve?
quick, under Premier Outdoors for Logan's, what's decorative grass around guardrails? And then Old Mission doesn't have that in there.
Yeah, so the RFP, the package we sent out was very open. We wanted these contractors to kind of like, what would it look to you to like beautify it, like this orchard view? We gave them suggested materials. Premier just added that decorative grass, kind of in that, the Boardman, the river where it goes through the tunnels there, where it kind of looks pretty shabby, that the road commission just actually came through and cleaned it. It looks really nice. I think it would, the smaller decorative grasses would, it'd be a buffer from that nature area, would basically be erosion control. We can't throw like riprap down in there. We can't do any of that kind of stuff, but that decorative grass would be something for erosion control where it'd also look a little nicer than just grass to natural area.
So like the ornamental grass that tassels out and has
Yeah.
the different heights? Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Is that what's used in, the city has now, that they have to cut it down all the time because of the,
If anything
Site
we'd
plan.
use, it'd be short. We don't want anything growing tall for vision obstructions. We want it to be short. There's thick grasses that would only get to be like knee high.
yeah, because there's some on Woodmere Avenue that it grows really high and you can hardly see it.
No, we're not gonna, it won't,
Okay.
we make sure it
A
won't.
short version.
Yep. Melly?
When you guys looked at, well, both of these, Logan's Landing and Woodmere, did you look at what our cost is going to be to maintain those? We've tried to maintain Woodmere, not been very successful for a long time. Sometimes it looks really great.
Yeah.
And it's really bad. So, in either case here, did you look at what's the least maintenance and for us? Or are we going to do it, or the road commission going to do it, I guess?
Yeah, that's a question for the road commission. I'm assuming if we plan it, they're gonna want us to maintain it. But I think, the beds will be minimal. That's something our contractor that for the summer stuff could take care of in a day. The trees, if they start growing up, you wanna kinda top them early to make them that round shaped. So maybe every couple of years, we're gonna probably wanna round them off on the top. That's another thing our contractor that we choose could do, once or twice a year.
We're just keeping the weeds and the crap out of there. you know?
Yeah, and basically just grass for the most part, other than protecting the root ball with, a stone or a mulch.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Is there gonna be much grass there? There's not gonna be any grass, right? Will there be any grass on this area, or no?
Oh, yeah, there'll be a bunch of grass still. I think the trees are gonna be more in the middle, so we'll have the grass on the outer part, yeah. Yeah, it has looked shabby in the past. We've had, that pump blew out, we didn't know, in the middle of summer. Took a while to get the pump replaced. Sean and I and Lautner have been doing a ton of work with things chewing through lines and
Yeah.
eating the electrical box this year. We had to fix that this year at the spring. Couldn't get the pump to turn on and found out something just chewed all the wires. So stuff like that. So now we're just kind of keeping critters out of there so we can,
You're on the river. You got critters.
yeah. Well, we had an ant's nest in the control box. Carpenter ants just made a full,
Oh.
up the post in the box.
Well, they were working, they were carpenters.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
shorted out the system.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So that was new, that was a new one.
On the Woodmere one, one's looking at doing pavers with 5 planter flower boxes, and the other one suggested a drought-resistant sedum ground cover. What's your thoughts?
Sedum's hardy. It could last in there. Do I
trying to
personally
picture
like the look
what
of sedum?
sedum
I personally don't like sedum a whole lot, but some people do. It's like a flowering,
It survives in
Plant.
heat. It's like a succulent, like a not cactus, but a
Yeah,
succulent.
succulent.
Yep.
Thicker leaves.
What would look better?
These are colorful too. There's like
Well, we could change it up, but we did the planter scenario where we just paved those areas, low maintenance, and we just had planters. Sean and I, we ended up getting a donated water tank in the truck, and it's something probably like every week or two, we're gonna go through and just water the planters and water the trees that we've already planted over at Buffalo Ridge Trail. So it's be some constant maintenance that we'd have to do just for water.
How much sand and dirt's gonna get on the pavers though from wintertime salting?
It's not too bad there, actually. I mean, I'm sure it gets salted quite a bit when they're coming down Woodmere. The biggest thing though is, the irrigation we had there years past is pre-me. It kept getting cut because when the mist dig goes in there, they don't get the poly, they don't register where the poly's at. So it's cut, so it's somewhere underneath Woodmere, so we've talked with staff that we don't really wanna try to fish out and maintain that irrigation in there, we just kinda wanna have a low maintenance for Woodmere on those 3 islands.
Do we want to see a tree, something a little more vertical? I'm looking at the Woodmere stuff. If we pave that over, and you're thinking of just 5 planter boxes, you're gonna construct those out of wood or out of brick or?
We probably could just buy the ones like, a Tractor Supply type bin that you can remove, take right out for the winter plowing season, so it's not getting beat on by the plow. Just remove it and store it at River East. That's my thought.
There in that place, because you're going kind of slow both directions, I think having something that's visually higher might be kind of nice. If the planter box is high enough and we put in hydrangeas or something that can get really
Okay,
pretty.
yeah, yep.
That's okay, but keeping them watered, I mean, to me, maintenance, I want it visually to look nice, but maintenance is really,
Low,
yeah.
yeah, keep it low, yep. So, yeah, I mean, if it's, you want it low, we're not in there watering as much, that sedum is pretty hardy. You get it established early spring, it could probably make it through summer.
It'll all be the same.
Yeah.
There's different styles of sedum, you can get some different colors.
So you,
Yeah, you just organize the edges, yeah.
She's putting in 3 different colors. They have quite interesting names, but I think one's yellow, one's red, and,
Is it a perennial?
yeah.
Yeah.
And one might be green.
What if we did pavers on the outside near the road and then some trees like flowering pears or whatever, the blooming, and then seed them underneath that?
Sounds like another bid.
Well, I'm just thinking about giving it color, giving it height, giving it a look, and then you guys don't have to take anything away or bring it back every year and plant it. The pavers are there, and if the pavers get dirty, we have a Metro fire station that needs to get a tanker out there to spray to make sure it works for fires. They could wash off our pavers for us.
there you go.
No, but I'm just thinking if you did like 4 foot or 5 foot of pavers between the curb and then the sedum and then some flowering crab trees or pear trees or something in there, it might
Could
look
probably
kind of
use a
cool.
similar
And then
tree
you
that
guys
we're
don't
using.
have to do nothing.
You could use a similar tree that we're planting down at Logan's, have
Yeah.
it match Logan's.
And it would give it
And
more of
just-
a curb look type thing, and we could easily go back and say, hey, this is our thought, what would it cost?
And we
It's
could just-
probably gonna be near the 58 possibly, because we're not doing as much paving. We're not gonna do the planters, we're gonna do trees instead, and we're gonna add some sedum in there. So I'm thinking it's gonna be below the 58, more than the 25. I
Right.
don't have my glasses on. Yeah, 25.
And if you put one or two of the decorative trees in there, I mean, we could always put the tree diapers on the bottom or the bags, and that,
Oh,
you can fill
yeah.
those up.
Great.
Yeah.
Tree diaper.
That's the new one, that's the new fad, it actually works a lot better than the
And tricolored
bags.
sedum would be cool,
So you guys want a blend between the two?
I think. I think a blend between Logan Landing's trees, some pavers, and some sedum at Woodmere.
Chris, what do you got?
What about doing stone that you would do at Logan's? I agree with that 100%. Doing that on Woodmere to kind of match and not just be pavers, so it's like hardscape. And then a mixture, I like the tree idea for height and then sedum for color. And they are pretty hardy.
And the
Yeah.
stone would be cheaper than pavers.
Yeah, and just my thoughts, I mean,
What happens though if eventually the stone gets filled with dirt?
Then there's maintenance.
Yeah.
Then with the fire department can wash the stone
Pavers,
out.
pavers you can wash off.
Yeah.
Right.
Stone, when it gets filled, I'm around my pool area, the ants bring up the dirt, and then you get it in the stones, and then you gotta go out there and make a
Basically-
mess to get
basically
the
take it
dang
out,
sand
yeah.
of there. So I'm thinking that might, it'd be pretty, but it might be a nightmare.
Wouldn't be low maintenance.
What do you think, Chuck?
I would go with pavers. Just,
Okay, what if we did pavers with like, you know, how you can cut out a space for a tree and do a couple trees? It's mostly pavers, but you got, you know, they can do a circle where you put a tree.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
On Woodmere?
Yeah.
Thing that could even become a shade. Are we thinking that those are going to be the pedestrian safety zones eventually, as that becomes more developed down through there, where people are gonna have to walk across, come across, and they stop on those medians?
Those medians, that's news to me. I don't, maybe John could speak to that, but I don't, is that proposed down the road?
No,
Yeah,
it's not a proposal, I'm just asking the
Oh.
question, whether we're thinking that eventually if it gets developed all the way down through there,
Connecting over to Barlow and that kind of,
you'll be able to get across if it's busy.
right.
So the pavers would be better at that
Mhm.
point. Little bench on there. I'm kidding.
LED lighting,
Yeah,
ambiance.
right.
Oh my
Something
God, this is
mood.
going
Mood thing, so you can sit.
I don't, so the consensus kind of is a little blend of both, I think, right?
On the Woodmere
On the
one.
Woodmere.
Yeah.
Sounds like on Logan's.
Logan sounds good.
I
The
like the
Premier.
Premier outdoor.
Yeah, I do too. I like the Premier Outdoor on Logan's, but
Woodmere, I'm not a fan of all pavers, though, and trees. I think pavers with sedum lining around the trees and the trees coming up and the sedum would be kind of cool. It's going to give it a lower green look, plus or whatever color it is,
Mm-hmm.
plus the trees, plus the pavers. Other than that, it's just going to look like a paved deck with a tree stuck in it.
Chris, you,
Can the company give a rendering of what it looked like with, like a design?
yeah, that's,
See it?
so before, I mean, we can approve like kind of what we're looking at right here, but we're gonna actually get a design layout. John, Steve, and I, Chloe, kind of been working on it for the final, what it's actually gonna look when the plans go on the ground, and you guys will be able to review that again.
And it looks like Old Mission, half of it is for cleanup of our existing stuff. So if it doesn't look like Premier is gonna do that, they're just gonna install. I mean, is it still gonna look as good if we don't touch the stuff that's there? Is that something that you would work on, or how?
What do you, on Premier's bid for Logan's?
Yeah, it says-
Both say, they both
both of
say
them
clean
say
up.
clean up.
Yeah, they're both.
The very
clean.
last sentence.
Those pines are gone.
Right here. Tear out, remove.
Oh, okay.
It sounds like the road
Disregard.
commission already did.
Oh, you're good. Yeah.
I like Premier.
the road commission doesn't do much to maintain that.
No, no.
What they do is they plow up the curbs every once in a while, put chunks inside.
Perfect. I have a question. Can we go ahead and approve Premier for Logan's and then have what we're talking about, a different aspect?
Do whatever the board wants.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we do, in Logan's Landing, we accept the Premier Outdoor bid for $43,055.
Support.
We have a motion and support to accept the, should we say,
Premier.
Premier Outdoors.
outdoors bid
For Logan's.
for Logan's Land. That's how I started. Any questions? Comments? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. And then on the Woodmere, we're going to go back to the
Drawing board.
drawing board.
Tweak the RFP just a little bit and have them revisit it. Okay?
And we're trying to spend these ARPA funds, right? I mean, that's
We're
kinda
trying to commit to
one of those things,
sign
so
a contract before the end of the year.
Yeah, I know, we got time to do it, but I have some good confidence in the team that's working on it. And, you know, if we can get a combination of the pavers and trees on Woodmere and the sedum, and you guys are all happy with it, you know, some of us are looking at maintenance issues, how much is it gonna take of your time, those kinds of things.
Right.
Not to exceed 60,000 or, you know, whatever, a
I
number.
was thinking.
Yep,
Yep.
I agree with that.
You making that a motion?
Well, I would like to have some discussion. Maybe other people feel like they want to see it before.
I trust the team that we have. I'm with you. I trust them, and if we could make a motion not to exceed $60,000, or, then I would be happy with that.
Are we going to choose Premier then for that as well? They're the ones that had the pavers, yes. We need to make that motion, don't we?
Right.
Do we need to choose the company? Or do we need to just say $60,000 for either company?
I think for either one, personally.
The only one that suggested the pavers was Premier.
Right.
Okay, well, that's what I was asking.
But the only one that suggested the sedum was Old Mission.
Right.
So it's a blend of both.
I think
feel
if you
like-
went
I feel like
60,000
Premier
max, trust them to get the bids from either one, and then go with the lowest bid of what we're talking about.
Well, what you guys like? Well, do you all feel comfortable doing that? Because the board can come back and say, ooh, that's really bad. You guys.
I think with their 58,000, I think we can bring that down with the lack of, we're probably lessening the pavers in probably in half. So that number with pavers is going to come down. They're currently our contractor to take care of our parks, and they're doing a fabulous job. If you guys already approved the Logan's Landing one, I'm pretty sure they'd be knocking out Woodmere just like they would be Logan's Landing, probably purchasing the same trees all in bulk for Woodmere as they did Logan's Landing.
Yeah.
Probably mainstream it a little easier, and I'll just make sure we can get that number down a little further.
That makes sense.
And do some sedum.
Yep, and add sedum. Sedum's a lot cheaper than pavers.
Yeah.
And you don't have to cut them and place them and
Right,
base and all that
Okay,
stuff.
I would like to make a motion that we allow the committee to work with Premier on the suggestions that the board has made and the bid not to exceed $60,000 for the Woodmere medians.
Support.
Is that right?
Sounded good.
That sounded good.
Yeah.
All right, we have a motion to have our committee, our group, work with Premier to do the combination we've described and keep it under $60,000. Are there any questions or comments? Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes.
Yep. Yes. Yes, sorry.
Yes.
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 Thanks, Derek.
Thank you all. I'm gonna skedaddle to a volleyball match.
Oh,
Good job, thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Item C under new business is consideration of adopting a new township logo and official seal. Have a group with Chloe and Chris and myself and several employees who worked with the consultants on our webpage and our branding. And this is the options that we thought were most appropriate.
Can I ask why we need a new logo?
The opinion of the committee was that while there's nothing wrong with the old logo, it is relatively rough. I mean, it's hard, when you put it on an email, you have no, it's hard for people to have any concept of what they're looking at. And it doesn't blow up well because it's not.
See, you cleaned it up, which is fine with the seal, but
Correct.
all the ones that they showed us samples of, East Bay Township and all these that they showed us for logos, they're all very similar to what we have right now.
They
Right,
copied
so
us.
basically, we wanted to stand out, and that's why she showed us the other surrounding areas' logos, so that Garfield Township didn't look like their logos. So that was kind of the thought process behind the design of making it not look like everybody else's logos. The point is to kind of create something that's easily identifiable for Garfield Township, and we decided as a committee to keep the seal because it's part of, or, to keep the old logo as part of our history and create a seal. But we wanted a logo as part of the process for redoing our website and, giving the township an image that reflects the residents, because she did a lot of work going out and meeting with the stakeholders, doing the surveys, trying to figure out what Garfield was, trying to define its character and who we are and what our values are. And this is what she came up with. So I'm really excited about it. I don't know, I'd like to hear the board's opinion on which ones you guys liked, what your favorites are. We're kind of at the design point in the process where she can't do the rest of the website, the theme and the colors and the scheme of it until we pick a logo. So once we pick that, she can start doing the creative stuff.
Steve?
I like the seal with the green around it. The one on there's the two on the bottom. I like the one with the green. I think it's bolder, more pronounced, and more professional. And then as far as the logo things go, I like the one with the green leaf and the water drop, but I think it's missing, on the bottom, it has that green surrounding the water drop. I think that should come up a thin line and form like a box. To me, I feel like you're missing the upper right.
Yeah,
It just is weird. And then the
She
other
said
ones,
she can tweak these however
the other
we
ones
want.
look like point markers.
That's
Like
Yeah.
So
exclamation
that's what they
points
are.
or something like that. I like that one logo of the leaf and the waters and the green and the orange, but to me, I just think a real thin line to finish that off or something.
I think it looks like a grow operation. I don't like it.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't like it at
Well-
all. It looks like a grow operation.
so could we change the leaf out to like a pine tree type
I don't
thing?
know.
Chris?
We have
I don't know.
pine-
I don't like any of them,
Excuse me.
quite frankly.
Chris?
I think it's important to know that all the research that they did, they kind of took that all in when they created these. Like, for instance, the dark green one here was to mimic leaves and stuff like that, and the different colors that represent the township. And so it was their ideas. It wasn't ours. We didn't say, this is what we want from you. So we had a limited number to pick from. And then we narrowed maybe 6 of them down to 3 that I think if you looked at the others, you'd probably agree that these are probably the best of the ones that we got. Of the ones that we got. And not everybody may agree with what we have here, but, this is what they presented us with, so. And there was some thought behind what they came up with.
Molly,
We haven't heard from Molly yet.
Yeah, just a question on it. So where are we going to use one of these? And where are we going to use these? There's all of our stationery going to have one of these, and this will be it? Or are some of our stationery going to have this, and our newsletter going to have this? And where are we using these things?
So the seal's gonna be used for the flag. It's in the floor and when you walk in the building, so it's still part of our history. And we usually use seals on like official documents. And then the logo is kind of more of like just a easy, recognizable. It's for, the residents to identify, if this is Garfield Township, this is, they see it on our signs or they see it on our email tags or our business cards. And it will be like a consistent thing that they will see a lot more often would be the logo. The seal is kind of like what you put on an official document. And we kept the seal just because we thought it would be appropriate. We were going to just replace it completely with a new logo. But we don't have to do a seal and a logo, if that's what you're getting at. But basically, we thought the seal would go on the flag and the official documents, and then the logo would go on, it lists out here, business cards, social media, unofficial documents, emails.
Just kind of an outside question. I know we all said we want to upgrade things around here a little bit, but have we figured out the cost now of replacing all of our stationery that we have and all the business cards and all the stuff to go to one of these little guys instead of have this here? Do we know what that's going to cost the township? All the envelopes and all the, everything we have then is going to go to something different.
I guess it would depend on how much we have now that we're throwing.
Yeah, we don't have it printed on things, we just print it on it as we go.
As you use it?
Yeah, none of our envelopes, or at least none that I use, none that are in the copy room have printed logos on it.
So if you want it on,
We
you
don't,
just,
our business cards do, and I was thinking we could just replace them with
that's
the new
not a
logo.
big thing, but
Right.
I know stationery is a lot.
Yeah, we don't have any stationery with our logo pre-printed on it, not that I know of.
We did it one time.
We did.
Denise?
In the day. I like the one with the green around it, using and cleaning it up, because it does look a lot better cleaning it up. Personally, I don't like any of the logos. I do not. I mean,
Too contemporary for you.
no, it's not too contemporary. It just doesn't, to me, it doesn't portray Garfield Township at all.
I wish you guys could have heard her presentation we got to see. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I agree with Denise. I don't like any of these. I don't think it depicts Garfield Township at all. People know Garfield Township by our logo, by this, and I have a lot of people actually comment on it. And I think that this will become outdated. This is classic, this is outdated. This is trendy and will become outdated in a shorter period of time. This has outlasted, this has been Garfield's logo for I don't know how many years, and it's on our website, it's on our signs. I mean, are you going to plan on changing all of our signs and everything else? I think that that's a huge expense for our taxpayers, and a lot of them comment on how much they like our logo. And I think that this will become outdated really quickly.
Thank you. Steve?
We have a logo and a seal. You're talking about the seal, right? I like the seal. This is what we're calling a seal, right?
Yeah.
And there's a picture in here of it on our sign out front.
Yeah, that's our
And
logo now.
I agree with the logo. Personally, I think I still like that one I mentioned, but I don't like it good enough to like it to vote on it. I think if maybe we did like a GT, Garfield Township, and then the river went between the G and the T, and we had a pine tree in the G, and then leaves and something down below the T's, people might link it more with the GT in there. Other than that, people are gonna go, what is that? I don't know. It doesn't impress me, but the seal, I really like.
Yeah, I like the seal.
That is so much crisper and
I have
professional
a
looking.
question. Why can't we use the seal as our logo? I mean, there's
And the seal.
just is seal as, so you say on official documents, are you saying we have that as printed onto them? Because we have an official Garfield seal that put a gold leaf on and it has Garfield Township seal on it. I mean, that's a seal on an original document. I mean, it's actually embossed onto it. We can't emboss that seal. Are you saying just put that logo on our official documents? I don't understand the seal part.
I think the seal and the logo could be the same, my personal.
I agree with you.
I don't see why we have to have two different ones.
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
Mr. Marsh?
I think the plan was, the company recommended a logo that was modern, and we didn't want to get rid of our existing logo. We were going to make it a seal, memorialize it, put it on official documents was kind of the plan. And, I mean, we could go back to the company and say, give feedback and say that, they kind of like the seal as a logo. Either we use that as a logo, or can you, and to Chuck's point, when you put that next to an email signature, you can't make out what it is because it's tiny, whereas the logos, they kind of stand out because they're simple. Do we use the seal as our logo going forward, or do we create something from the seal that is more a logo that's more representative of the seal? Where you turn it into a rectangle thing with the, I don't know, I'm just throwing out ideas. You know,
Yeah, this is, yeah.
Go ahead, Chloe.
I just want to say that we paid this consultant a lot of money to do this, and it was all voted yes by this whole board, and that was part of the contract, was to update the logo. So I wish that if this was not the direction the board would have gone, it would have been good to bring that up before we signed a contract with them for $30,000 to design a logo and to go through this process with us. So I would like to see it through because I think it's fun, exciting. I think it's cool. I think it's attractive. I think it elevates the quality of our township. It says we think about what we're doing. We're intentional. We're putting the time and effort into the image of Garfield Township. Whereas to me, the old logo is very dated and not fun or exciting. And I've always thought that since I started here. I understand that it represents history, and, I have heard that it comes from a certain family. I had the previous treasurer, Judy McManus, tell me that she designed it, and she came up with it, and so I don't know if that's why there's an attachment to it, but to me, I'd like to pick something that represents everybody now, currently where we're at in Garfield Township. And I feel like our consultant did a really good job going out, surveying, getting feedback. If you read her PowerPoint, I think she nailed Garfield Township. I wish you guys could have seen her presentation, and maybe we should have had her come, but she, the key words that she picked up on are in the first section, and then she, tried to highlight as much as she could the feedback that she got from people. And one of the biggest things was location. Garfield Township is the location to be, and that's what the location symbol is, the yellow one and the orange with the sun, and then it represents our nature too. And she kind of said Garfield Township is a little bit of a contradiction. We have the nature and we have the industry, we have the commercial, and so her logos tried to reflect that. Especially the one with the 3 or the 4 leaves going around, that's supposed to represent it all coming together here in Garfield Township.
That one
And
doesn't
then-
look like leaves, though, to me.
No, it looks like.
And then it's supposed to be the shape of a G. Yeah.
Huh?
And then we, as a board, it was the employees, me, Chuck, and Chris, all liked the location one because it was just, it's bold, it's simple, and we envisioned it being on a map showing this is Garfield Township, this is where you want to be. It's all here. You can find everything here. You can go shopping, you can go camping, you can go hiking, you can have a family here. So when you kind of read about the symbolism behind it, I think it makes a lot of sense instead of just, looking at it. And I actually saw the location symbols and I thought, yes, I love that. That was my initial reaction to those two. We originally saw the yellow. I was like, yes, that's cool. So I'm just expressing my feelings. I think that the old logo is out of date. And personally, it's like every other drawing that you would ask of someone to draw the seasons. So I guess that's all I'm going to say. We voted to do this process, and it would have been nice to have had feedback at the beginning.
I thought we were voting to update our website. I didn't realize we were voting to change our logo and who we were. I didn't realize that. I thought we were just voting on updating our website, because our website really needs updating. I think rebranding our township is unnecessary and, quite frankly, and I'm sorry to say this, a frivolous waste of taxpayer dollars. I'm sorry. I think that I think when I saw these signs, these destined, whatever these, they look like Google snow cones. I'm sorry. That's what came out at me. I didn't think it was new and updated. I don't think I don't like any of these. I don't think this is a good I personally don't think it's a good representation of Garfield Township. I think these are a good representation of Garfield Township. The seal. That's all I have to say.
No. I mean, I like the seal. I really do like the seal with Charter Township of Garfield on it and Grand Traverse County, to know that we are who we are and what county we're in.
Because there's 6 of us.
I know.
Molly?
I like the seal, except it does not speak to me at all about economic development or anything other than nature. From that perspective, I could go with another logo. I'm okay with that. I'm not crazy about any of the ones that she presented, and maybe the consultant needs to come in and talk to us so we can tell them what we want reflected on there. These are too simple to me, and this one is too busy, and it doesn't say all that we want it to say. So I hate to say go back to the drawing board, but you get into these real contemporary things. We did that at the Rec Authority too, and we made the change, and then nobody could figure out what the heck it was, and so we ended up changing again. So I guess that's my point. I'd like to see them go back. If I have to vote, I've got some things I can vote yes and no on, but I'd rather have the consultant come in and listen to what we want reflected in our logo. Because this stuff really isn't it. So, that's me.
Just one more thing, and I have to agree with Leanie on this. I mean, I know that we were updating our website, and that's what I thought we were doing. I did not know anything about this, so I was surprised.
When you go to remodel the home,
Read the
you talk about remodeling the home, but then when you get into the kitchen area, the wives always have an opinion of granite or laminate, tile floors, color of paints, color of cabinets, and I think that's what we've got here. I think this conversation has spurred everybody going, whoa, I'd like a say in this. So I think it's good conversation, but I agree. I thought it was website, logo would, everybody has a different opinion, but I think this board can come to enough information for this person standing there to go, okay, I got some ideas, let me go back and do this. But I think the remodeling of our website created these questions, and it's all good.
Mr. Barshev?
I'm all for simplifying our current logo to go with the items that are listed, email, business cards, and using the existing logo on more formal documents. I was asked to pick between several logos that were presented. I wasn't super excited, but I picked out the one that I liked the best, which was the dark green with the different leaves. In the proposal, I'm pretty sure spelled out that it was like a rebranding effort. It was pretty detailed on what they would do. So I don't think there was any, it shouldn't have been any confusion as to the extent that they were going to do it. I'm fairly certain it talked about rebranding, and maybe it didn't say create a new logo, but I think it talked, did it? Okay. I feel from my end is that it might be best to have them come in, us explain what we'd like to see, and have them go back to the drawing board potentially and come up with some new logo ideas that, fit the best to everybody's desires.
Perhaps we can have them watch the end of this meeting.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of a danger in having two separate things. We should be able to decide on one logo. and whatever that logo is, whether it goes with this, but having two logos is kind of, why are you doing that, sort of. And I appreciate the history of this. This is fine. I don't think that this one says everything we want it to say either. But having two different ones, to me, is just too confusing and, you know, doesn't really make us be what we want it to be. So I'd make motion that we invite the consultant to come in and visit with us.
I support that motion.
I just want to say one more thing. She did have sessions where we were able to meet with her and talk to her, and she spent a lot of time on this. So honestly, like, I feel like that would be very insulting. So I would suggest, if you guys like the logo, the updated logo in the green, can we just get this over with and vote for it? Because
Which one are you talking about?
this, if everyone likes the old logo updated in the green, can we just vote that this becomes our new logo, please? Because this has been a topic that's been around the office for a long time now. And I'd just really like to not drag it out, I guess.
Yeah, I think,
And if everyone likes this one, can we vote it so we can start finishing the rest of our website?
So you're talking about the seal and not doing a logo.
Right?
Or making that the
well,
logo.
the seal.
Which is what I
the seal
figured was
being-
gonna happen inevitably anyway, so.
So, my wife stopped by earlier, and I told her we were talking about this. And I told her there were some differing opinions. And the first thing she said is, how do the employees feel about it? And I said, I don't know. So I sent this package to each of the employees, asked them to look it over and comment. None of them had really strong opinions. One actually liked the old logo better. You know, a few of them liked one of the two seals, the new logo with the surround on it. I didn't get a whole lot of love for any of the new logos. So it was kind of I think maybe the mistake we made was not communicating along the way. You know, when we get to this point and there's this strong of a difference of opinion, I'm to blame as much as anybody, because I was at those meetings and it never occurred to me to say, well, let's share this with the board at this step. You know, let them know what we're looking at. Let's share this with our employees, because they're going to be working. That's going to be the logo is going to be for the place where they work. And most of our employees plan on being here for a while. So I felt like we did not, as a committee, three of us didn't communicate with our board and our employees as well as we should have. So I don't mind pushing it out a little farther now that we've kind of opened the door on a conversation. And if we can share this with New Moon and see what if she can watch this meeting and come up with something that captures everybody's kind of expression or feeling about what our logo should look like.
Agree.
I like the idea.
I don't think she should feel insulted because nobody realized how intense this board was going to be about the logo. And that was a discovery that was found when this came up. So I would just say it was something we didn't realize, and we probably should have brought the board in earlier, but we didn't, and we're at this point now.
Yeah. I mean, when we got our first package with some options, we probably should have shared it. And
That
then-
was just recently, though, that it's not like we've been hiding it, you
Um,
know?
Please say it.
Didn't say you hit it. We're just saying it probably should have
This is
We
bringing
didn't
it to the
realize how
board.
much
I kinda
opinion
feel
was
like-
here.
This is bringing it to the board. I don't know.
Yeah, that's where we are now.
I kind of feel like the letter could have said is, here is some options, what is your opinion, versus making a selection on what you want tonight. That would have changed everything, right? And, you know, the staff who assisted in the committee and doing some work behind the scenes, John, there's a lot of work and effort put into this, so they need to be recognized. And, you know, depending on what you did on item 7A tonight, someday I'll be able to help carry this project, you know, along and help more than I have been, so if we kick it down the road, there'll be extra help from my end.
Denise?
And nothing against the committee at all, but I know that you said you had several options.
Like
You know-
6 total.
Well, I mean, and we have 4. Maybe would have been better to bring those 6 rather than the 4.
I don't think you.
You know, I don't know how, but I'm just saying that I like the seal, 100%. If we would need to vote on that and just that, but if you want the logo, I think that we would need to have the consultant come back in.
So the seal will be the logo.
Where the seal, I don't know, that's what I'm,
Okay with sticking with.
Yeah,
Yeah, the seal.
I'm open to either way. I mean, I like the way the new,
this one?
yeah, the high definition looks. And something you can scale up or scale down, and it'll still look good.
Oh, I do too, yeah, much better.
I appreciate the idea that we want to do, I mean, like Traverse City introduced the one with the 3, I'm not exactly sure what that was. Looks like 3 people who were upset with their arms in the air. That was just, but 20 years ago, they brought that out. That was Traverse City.
Traverse City's
It
logo.
looks like 3 people with their arms.
Oh,
in the air.
yes.
Not exactly sure what it's supposed to be, but they thought it was cool.
They were sponsored by a yoga group.
There we go. But I would not mind having the rep take a look at this meeting, the discussion, and see if she gets a feeling for something that works for everybody. Yep.
So can the consultant that's updating our website, making it more efficient, making it more so that people can figure out what they want to find and all those kinds of things, seems to me they could just keep moving along with that part of the process. Is that not the case? Do we have to wait and do this before?
I think they've been moving along, but they do want to know what the final color scheme is going to be and how things are going to work in terms of design.
My idea of updating our site was so that you could click on this and you get there and
Yes.
you know what it is, and you
Yep.
click on more in lines of efficiency. I'm hoping that's a direction that we're going in. I understand you gotta have a scheme, color scheme and all that. That's all fine. So if they can keep moving along, I don't know. I mean, does the committee feel like they're done and we just go with what we have, or?
Well,
We're at the point where we have to pick the logos. We're pretty much finished with the technical side of the website. We're just bringing in the design elements and the photography at this point.
We can get photography.
Lainey, had your hand there?
well, we've wasted a lot of employee time on the website already. on the
In your
logo.
opinion?
In our opinion. I mean, the employees that have come out, 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours meetings, and we have to cover for them. I mean, the front desk, people that have to cover for the front desk get upset because they have work to do back in their office, and then the meetings are very long meetings. I'm just saying, I hear the complaints from the other employees that have to cover whenever you have these 3 to 4 hour meetings to do the website. I guess, I'm sorry, I hear the
It
complaint from the other
doesn't, it
employees.
doesn't take me in any direction here. I don't know why, but I understand your complaint.
I just, yeah, I don't know how much longer you're gonna, never mind.
Chris?
I think this has never been done before, correct?
Correct.
So we're relying on a consultant to do this whole process that we're just following. And, you know, the meetings, they're either giving us guidance on what we need to decide and however long it takes to figure it out. I don't think we're intentionally trying to disrupt operations. We're just relying on the consultant to give us direction. And I haven't attended all of the meetings just because of my job, but, I mean, they seem to be, from my end, pretty efficient and quick from the ones I've been involved in.
Some of them were pretty long.
Okay.
Is the board willing to ask the consultant to watch this meeting and take it into consideration and come up with something?
I think so. I think they might come up with an idea or an agreement of the conversations we had. I don't know. And I don't want to waste anybody's time, and I don't think anybody's time has been wasted. I think everybody's put a lot of effort into it. But I think it'd be good, Chuck. I think for them to watch, they're going to hear and see what we all talked about.
We'll go that way, and maybe we'll come to some very pleasant conclusion.
Good.
Okay.
I would like to be removed from the committee, though, if anybody would like to stand in for me. It'd be great. I feel like I
Okay.
put in the effort that I can put in, so I don't know if any other board member would like to volunteer to be on it instead of me.
Yep. If anybody wants to volunteer, feel free.
I will volunteer.
All right.
Also, one more comment on the staff. I just have to say that our staff has been working really, really hard on this. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of forms. It's a lot of detail. It's way more work than we ever would have thought. And our staff is working very hard on it. They are doing a very great job. We are going to have a really efficient, really beautiful website. Down to every link that you click on is going to take you where it needs to go. So these meetings are long, but they're necessary. And it's part of this process to go through. And we do appreciate the staff who have covered for staff who have had to go to the meetings. This is part of the project. This is part of the process, and no one's wasting time. It's very productive. The attention to detail is impressive, and our staff should be recognized for that because they are working very hard on this, and they are putting their heart and soul into it. So I just wanted to say that too.
Chuck, I just have one question, and Chloe, maybe you can answer this. The website is basically done, should I say, almost done, and we're just waiting on this, the color schemes and
Logos.
So they have like placeholders, Chloe, of like, here's where a logo's going to go, here's colors we need to choose type thing?
Yep, it's a whole basically operational setup shell of a website. It just needs the
Fill-ins.
pretty stuff.
Yep. The perfume and the flowers need to be added.
don't forget the wine.
Do we need to have discussion on these other items that we were going to check so that it's all in one ball, or are we waiting,
What, like the tagline?
like, what font are we using for Garfield, and like, what's the tagline going to be, and
Well, I hope there's more different taglines.
I have two suggestions.
Sure.
Tagline, of course. Best of all worlds. Pulled that after reading through their dialogue, and welcome home. I like both of those too.
All right. I will make a phone call to the consultant, and we will see if we can get the committee back together, or if we have an entire board.
Just let me know. I'm available.
What do you want to do with the motion that was on the floor?
What was the motion that was on the floor?
Yeah,
It was for the consultant to come in and talk to the board or watch the meeting on tape.
I'm going to ask, I think we were definitely going to have her
Rescind that.
watch the
She
meeting.
just said rescind.
yeah, go ahead and rescind that motion.
So see if we can get her to watch this meeting, and then we'll have a discussion and move from there.
This reminds me of last night's meeting. Okay.
All right, we are to item number 9, public comment.
You can do that.
You missed it, I think. Joe McManus, 5138 Silver Cove Drive, Garfield Township. Two things. I don't want to beat the logo thing to death. I'd throw out a different terminology to consider in an idea, okay? I don't look at it as a seal, I look at it as the logo, okay? So instead of seal and logo, think of it as a logo and an icon, okay? Every company has an icon. Look at your cell phone, all right? Every company has a logo, and then they have an icon that is derived from that logo. There's something identifiable in that icon. So if you had a Garfield Township website, then you create an icon that you can recognize as part of that logo, and then it's a quick look at your cell phone. There's so many of them, okay, that it's not the logo, but you look at that and there's something there that identifies it. So if somebody wants a website, a quick access on their phone to our website, it's part of that logo. It's a portion of it, or at least it's something that's recognizable. I think we need one logo, but I think the idea of an icon, either whether it be on your cell phone or as part of an email or something, the two should be very similar. If from what I saw, the logo and the icons, or the seal and the logos, didn't represent each other at all. There was nothing recognizable between the two. So just a thought there. And being probably a good chance when the decision's made, I might be part of the decision process, I might throw that out. The only other thing I had is, and John and I have talked a little about this, pretty sure there's going to be an opening in the Planning Commission relatively soon, okay? And maybe we run an ad and start building a bench to get applications for Planning Commission members. I know we have a couple on staff, or on file, but not very many. So I think the more the better as we start, so in the near future, we're going to have an opening there. So maybe run an ad or come up with something. We have one or two on file, but I'd rather have more to choose from as we approach that. So
That time of the year, we should probably run an ad for a number of different positions.
just a thought.
Yep,
All
thank
right.
you. Thank you.
See y'all soon.
Thanks. You're doing your entry and I'm doing my farewell. So first thing I'm going to do is say I missed the discussion on the logo, but I am going to throw this out free of charge. I've been trying to do this for, I don't know, maybe 12, 14 years. Think about Garfield the cat. I'm just going to throw that out there, a cat theme for Garfield. I have asked for years as I visited Chuck with all the dogs in the building, you should have a cat, an orange one that eats lasagna. Again, no charge. Road Commission report. Real quick thing, if you guys check the Record Eagle out on Sunday, there was actually a really good article on campaign signs, and I just wanted to point that out and let people know. The article went through all of the restrictions and rules for both the county road commission, roadsides and road right-of-ways, and the city ones as well. And it was really good. I actually learned quite a bit from it. It was informative. The message we're trying to get out is please think about our employees who have to mow the roadsides and all of that. And for a lot of reasons, we don't like the signs out there. But if you are missing signs, or anybody that maybe asked for a sign of yours and they have reported you that it's missing or want another one, just take a quick look at either your township's dumpster in the parking lot. A lot of times they're leaned up next to them, and the road commission keeps them for 30 days at our dumpster, because I know how much money those are. And, if you can recover those and not think that they're thrown away, that would be great. So we just wanted to point that out. We are going through our budget process. Obviously, we're ready for snow removal. Salt and sand is in. We are fully staffed. And our trucks are all ready, so we've got our routes being planned right now, and hopefully they won't go out. That's my plan, is we just do a lot of pruning this winter. But we are ready nonetheless on that. And I think that was it on the road commission, mostly just working on the budget. So that would be it. But honestly, the cat thing, like, just going to throw that out there. And just to let you guys know, I have now worked for Grand Traverse County, the Grand Traverse County Road Commission, and the Traverse City Housing Commission that have all rebranded their logos and redone their website. And Chloe is correct. It is a huge undertaking by the staff, having been the staff that was involved in that. So just throwing that out there, because sometimes when I sit on a board chair, it's really different than when I sit in my desk chair at the office. So just something to think about. Or the cat. So thank you.
Is there any other business to come before the board tonight?
I have a question. We got an email from you today regarding a photographer being here tonight.
Yeah, she was in here a little bit, so, yeah, she's been through doing some, getting us some photography for the website.
Okay. I guess I didn't.
Reminder, I'll be gone next meeting.
Okay.
Tulsa time.
Tulsa.
Tulsa.
Living on Tulsa.
Tulsa time.
Anything else? There are no objections. We stand adjourned.